Now, what's really exciting about this fall of 2021 is that there's going to be a lot of announcements when it comes to new Disney Star Wars projects, be it live action or animated material, whether it's a TV show or a movie, whatever have you. A lot of that will be announced this fall around that November to December time range. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Also, make sure to check me out at Mike01 on Twitter. Now, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, as you all know, recently got big promotions over at LUCASFILM. A lot of things have been happening the past couple of days. We've seen great improvement over at LUCASFILM as far as how much control Jon and Dave really are going to have over this new expanded universe. They're also working very close with George Lucas on the side as well. Meanwhile, Kathleen Kennedy's only working on Star Wars The Acolyte. That show is running into a lot of problems. We've talked about this time and time again, that it's very likely that this show is going to either A, be cancelled, or B, delayed until 2023 sometime, because they're not even beginning to film this actual TV show as of yet. But anyways, I digress. What's really interesting all has to do with what Jon and Dave recently did behind the scenes over at LUCASFILM and exactly how much of an impact it's having on Kathleen Kennedy's legacy and what she left behind after she lost a lot of her creative power over at LUCASFILM. We already know that a lot of her High Republic material is also going to be taken over by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in different ways. Keep in mind that they now have creative power over how many of the books, novels, and the comics will be published, how they will be done, in what order they're going to release, and everything like that. So you're going to see this big shift in how LUCASFILM operates as a company, all thanks to Jon and Dave really getting their promotions. Now, with that being said, of course, what's really exciting is that given that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's mission right now is to improve the Star Wars franchise by bringing back a ton of Star Wars Legends material, it's best described that Jon and Dave are getting ready to have a major meeting on the 27th with Disney's higher-ups about the Gina Carano situation that happened back in February. However, what actually comes as a big surprise to the entire fandom is that since Jon and Dave were given creative power through their new promotions over at LUCASFILM, they have been making major adjustments to the Star Wars universe. One major step that they made recently was by canceling a particular Star Wars TV series for Disney+. This Star Wars series is said to have been a TV show that was initially greenlit by Kathleen Kennedy and set up as a standalone project to go over the origin of Brie Larson's character, Maeve, in the Star Wars world. Now further, it's noted that Jon and Dave were recently given permission by Disney CEO Bob Chapek to cancel the new Star Wars series for the streaming platform. The series was set up to explore Maeve's home world in the Star Wars galaxy and would feature the Whills, who are essentially gods in the Star Wars universe. Kennedy originally was setting this up to be an origin story of the High Republic era, and of course the character Maeve and how she was created by the Whills. However, since Brie's role for the Acolyte has been cut down now, Jon and Dave recently made a great decision to cancel the origin story series right away and ASAP. So even Bob Chapek viewed this as a good decision, as the Acolyte is still running into issues, creatively speaking, between Kennedy and Leslie Headland. Kathleen Kennedy, however, behind the scenes, is said to be very angry towards Filoni and Favreau for making this big call. Now, here's the thing about Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's new promotion. You guys may very well be unaware about this, but they actually also have authority over how some of the video games are going to be done, how some of the TV shows are going to be done that they are not attached to, such as not being a writer or director for certain shows. They're still going to have a lot of control over those TV shows. So this really does speak volumes. This tells us that Jon and Dave really are investing a lot of their hard work into the universe. The fact that they went right in and canceled this residual project by Kathleen Kennedy, this High Republic origin story that focused on the character of Maeve, this Jedi god, if you will, that is still going to, yes, be in The Acolyte, but will no longer be getting her own show on Disney+, which thankfully is awesome. We're not quite sure if it was an animated series or a live action. They kept going back and forth on deciding whether or not they wanted to make it animated or live action. But on the table, it is now off and completely put into the shredder, all thanks to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. You guys may recall just a couple of weeks ago, Jon Favreau even said that we can expect a lot of surprises to come for the future Mandalorian series, with, of course, Luke Skywalker and some of the fan-favorite characters like Ahsoka. Future seasons are really going to deliver. Even Dave Filoni said the Force is going to be strong with them. And that was also a great hint that it's going to feature our favorite Force-powered characters, right? Now, with that being said, Kathleen Kennedy not having a good day at all, obviously, day in, day out, over at LUCASFILM because of what's been going on with Jon and Dave. They now have full authority over how Star Wars will be handled from this point on forward, and that's great news. That tells us that things are really starting to shape up. We can finally see a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's exactly what the fans needed. Here's something that's very important that I think a lot of fans really need to know, that is very crucial to the Star Wars franchise, is that Jon and Dave are actually in the process of canceling even more residual projects that were left over by Kathleen Kennedy. We will also be going over that in the coming weeks. There's a lot of material that she left behind. In fact, you guys may or may not know, we talked about this about 3 months ago, is that initially Kathleen Kennedy wanted to create her own Star Wars universe with director and writer Rian Johnson, and how his new trilogy would kickstart this new universe and kind of throw Star Wars in a brand new direction. And how Rian Johnson's trilogy would actually come after some TV shows that would serve as a connection to his new trilogy. That was all thrown into the trash earlier this year thanks to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni in many different ways. And that, honestly, is very inspiring. The fact that we have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni really doing everything in their power to keep Star Wars intact, to really make sure that it's going to live on and really stay just as significant as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's not forget that the MCU has been doing great so far. I know that Marvel's The Eternals doesn't look all that impressive, at least to me, but when we go ahead and look at Star Wars, it has the potential to reach that height, to reach that level of, being so expansive like that, of how many projects they have going on. That's their plan. Jon Favreau, at the end of the day, made the MCU. He started it in 2008. He's going to do it again with the Star Wars universe, launching it, of course, already with The Mandalorian Season 3. That's really going to throw it in a new direction. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.